What's going on, my super fam? But oh my god, I'm actually laughing right now. But the official ban of Xilonen is basically here. But oh my god, what the hell are these 4-star? This is literally nothing like the 4-star I've predicted in my videos. Because in my prediction video, I was trying to be a little bit more optimistic toward Hoyoverse, respecting Xilonen's banner, and you guys pull a little bit more than this. But yeah, there's going to be like a lot of discussion about the banner in this video, which is why we're having this video here. So obviously I'm going to be saving talking about the 4-star on the banner in a little bit later in the video. But first off, most importantly is definitely going to be the 5-star character that's on the first phase, and the biggest character here is definitely going to be Xilonen. Right, so basically at this point in time, if you're following Genshin Impact YouTube channel, you should already have an idea of what Xilonen is capable of. So this is not a video where I really dive into her kit and explain it for you here. But basically, Xilonen herself is, well, definitely going to be a very sought out character, an important support character across any of your account, which is kind of rare because we haven't got a character like this in a very long time. In all honesty, I'd say probably ever since Kazuha, right? Well, technically there has been some very decent support character coming here and there. For example, like Furina, right? I really respect Furina's support and buffing capability as well as sub DPS for your team. But the thing is with Furina is that she is technically not entirely complete at a C0 level. You do kind of need her constellation in order to get, fast buffing time. Otherwise, you're not going to get her full buff for the whole duration of her burst, if you understand what I mean. Whereas, character like Kazuha, you're getting basically everything at his C0, and he does it very well most of the time ever since he was released, and there hasn't been any character coming close to it apart from, Furina until Xilonen comes right here. Everything she does is, I would say better than what Kazuha can do. And also with the ease of how you're going to be able to have at least 2 elemental shredding on your enemies, it's just really so valuable. You just basically cast an E, right, due to her normal attack so that she gets hold of her knights, so backing up, and then you're very good to go with your team. And also on top of that, the way that she's better than Kazuha in terms of she's capable of healing, it's already so much better for you to build a team because now it's all in one, kind of how similar you've been using Bennett up until now, which is why Bennett is still very a valuable character. Whereas if you're using Kazuha, you always need to save a slot on your team for a healer. Either it has always been a Bennett, a Kokomi, or you just run a speedrun team without a healer so that you try and finish off your enemies as quickly as you can. Also, she's a very free-to-play friendly character to build. You don't actually need to invest much unless you're going with a DPS route, which I don't think most of us out there is going to be going anyway. So either than that, you just basically try and get the Cinder City set onto Xilonen, and technically that's all you need. The defense percentage is more about her to do a bit more damage for you most of the time because her buff doesn't actually scale with defense. And while it does affect your healing too, so if you do have more defense on her, it does help that. But like as I've mentioned, you don't need to build defense in order for her to get the maximum buffing, unlike some of the other support character. Now, generally about Xilonen is that, as I've mentioned, she is going to be decently better than Kazuha overall in terms of how you use her and the ease of using Xilonen. But obviously the case here is that if you've already got Kazuha, some of the time you can actually, look into your Primogem situations and think about whether or not you should be still pulling for Xilonen at this point in time, especially if you are only focusing on the character that are not from Natlin. However, if you're planning to use more of DPS character and more of character that are going to be from Natlin, then Xilonen is definitely going to be a straight up increase from character like Kazuha because of the ability that she gets access to more Night Soul bursts for your Natlin character. And considering that I'm pretty sure from the trend that Natlin DPS character are going, for example like Molani and Kinish, who already got very decent buff from Night Soul burst, other Natlin character who are going to come in the future should have this kind of buffing as well, which makes it Xilonen to be a very good character for Natlin DPS specific characters. Well, I'm just putting this idea out there, but I'm sure that if you have been saving up your Primogems, most of you are going to be pulling for Xilonen anyway. Which obviously, discussing about Xilonen downside, honestly speaking, the only thing I can see right now is she's probably going to be taking up your Primo Gem pools if you're not really that lucky. But other than that, as long as you pull for Xilonen, I'm pretty sure any of the team that you have in your account are going to have some kind of benefit off of this. Obviously, apart from Dendro and Anemo teams, because Xilonen doesn't shred those two elements. But honestly, many of the time, those two elements being on the team here is just going to be supporting your other DPS character anyway, so that actually doesn't matter as much. Now moving on, we have our lovely Chiori. Honestly, I have a lot of respect to Chiori in terms of her personality and her character building. But when it comes to character playing for Chiori, her kit is actually just so bad. Obviously, when we're comparing her to other characters, but as I've mentioned before, if you like a character in Genshin Impact, you can always find a way to make them work, which is honestly, yeah, if you're already loving Chiori, you're planning to pull for her, they always say that just go ahead and pull for Chiori, because yeah, you're gonna have fun playing around with her because she does have some quite unique mechanic, especially the switching mechanic that she's got, right? Obviously that's not too great of a mechanic, but you can still play around with it and it can be fun. And her cute two little door as well that she spawns on field for her E skill, that's very lovely compared to Albedo's flowers, right? But in terms of meta wise, obviously you're probably not going to be using Chiori that much. But yeah, if you're deciding to investing into Chiori DPS wise, right, and you're kind of having pulling for Xilonen as well, then obviously Xilonen and Chiori can make a very good Geo team, and you can slot in other Geo support character to build a very specific Geo team on that as well, and that can definitely work and will become a very good team, because it's really nice that we have Xilonen now buffing Geo element, as it's one of the least respected elements in the game right now. So yeah, Geo is slowly crawling back after Xilonen's here. I don't think it's Geo's gonna make too much of a meta comeback, but obviously with Xilonen here, Geo characters are definitely going to get a very decent buff. Alright, with that, now we're going to be touching on the 4-star on the banner. Oh boy, how should I say this? Well, last time, as I predicted, I was thinking about the banner having at least like a Goro. We were hoping for a Yunjin as well, and then yeah, the last character, I've been messing around with the last character, so we don't really care. But that was me being positive about Xilonen's banner, because I was expecting that Hoyoverse may be respecting your pools a little bit more, but this is actually a direct disrespect towards anyone that's going to be pooling for Xilonen. Like how many times are you going to be using Dory? Like honestly, right? Now we know that Dory was here on Chiori banner last time, so I kind of expected that there is going to be a chance, but honestly I was not expecting her to actually be here on Xilonen banner. But yeah, well, Dory does have very good healing, but Genshin Impact doesn't have that much of content that requires you insane amount of healing anyway, right? I mean, if you were having co-op content that requires a lot of healing, then Dory is probably going to be very beneficial for you, but other than that, you're just going to be sitting in the garage, right? Kale, I mean, it's fine if you have Kale, right? She's a decent character, but more toward a free-to-play kind of team building, because if you've already got a very good team build, you're probably not going to be using Kale. As I've mentioned, she does have potential. If you want to use her, she can be a pretty good character to apply Dendro, but honestly at this point in time, you're probably going to be saving for Nahida if you're looking for a very good Dendro application anyway, right? And then yeah, Candice, she has a lot of potential. I think Candice is the best 4-star character here, and I mean, at least she's here because the more constellations you have, especially if you do have her at C6, I think she's a pretty fire character. C6 Candice actually have the capability to do a lot of damage, help your team quite decently out, especially when you're into the normal attack categories. So for example, if you're you might want a DPS Xilonen, for example, then I guess having a more higher constellation Candice can actually help her there in that case. But honestly guys, this is like one of the worst 4-star lineup that you can possibly have, and Hoyoverse kind of know that most of you are going to be pulling for Xilonen anyway, so they decide to put the 4-star character here so that they can save the good characters in future banners, which obviously makes sense in a business perspective, but it's not looking good for those of you guys out there if you're looking for good 4-star characters. So I really do wish you good luck getting Xilonen early. Do not waste your gem too much, and that is indeed pretty much it. Now on to the the weapon banner. First off, obviously, we're going to be looking in the 5-star options, right? We know that Xilonen's signature has a lot of good potential. However, it is not a requirement for you to actually pull this weapon because, as I've mentioned before, building defense onto Xilonen isn't a requirement for you to get the most out of her, right? So unless you're going with a DPS Xilonen, or you want to see her doing a bit of damage number, you can go with this, but the best value you're going to be getting from this weapon is basically the elemental damage bonus that this weapon gives for your team, right? Because as you can see here, you're getting a maximum of around 25.6%, which is quite nice, obviously. But if you're looking into it, we have a very decent defense sword at this point in time that you can make use of for Xilonen. Then honestly speaking, overall, I don't think this is going to be the best value if your account don't really have too much Primogems at this point in time. Other than that, you do get Chiori sword next to it, so overall I don't think that it's too bad of a 5-star weapon lineup, because with the 88% crit damage as well as normal attack and skill damage increase, it is rather nice because many of the sword character does use their normal and E skill, plus it's a decently nice looking 2.0 mid-splitter sword, which I mean, if you do lose to this weapon, I don't think it's actually that bad. So obviously it could have been worse, but Chiori sword is right next to it, so if you do decide to go for the 5-star weapon banner, the overall value is still going to be there. Now, as for the 4-star options, it's actually not too good. The only best thing right here is going to be the Favonius Codex. Honestly speaking, guys, because the Rust nowadays, you're probably not going to be using it that much. And when do we actually get to use a sack claymore, right? I mean, you're probably not going to be using this too much. And then the 2 new Natlin weapon, I don't think there's official information just yet, but the poem is technically going to be something of an energy recharge and an elemental skill damage increase. So if you're looking into it, if you do get this weapon, you want to slot into character like Emily, who I think is technically the only character who's going to make the most use out of it, is kind of okay. But obviously your Emily should usually have better options, but if you don't, you can use it on it. Other than that, the sword is going to be okay as well, but it's more focusing on a normal attack. So it's actually very limited into which character you're going to be able to use this sword. So the 4-star options here aren't really that good. But overall, I mean, they do decide to, slot in 2 of a new Natlin weapons series out there. So I guess it's still going to be a bit of a value, better than, slotting in some of the worst older 4-star weapon that we've already got in the game. So, I mean, if you do decide to pull on the weapon banner, I do wish you good luck as usual. But do be mindful about how much Primogems you're going to be using, because up next, we're definitely going to be talking a little bit about the future characters that are going to be coming. Because, well, right this afternoon, Hoyoverse have already teased which character are going to be coming in 5.2. Now, Chaska, yes, oh my god, she's sexy, man. We know that she is going to be here and is an anemo character of that, most likely a 99% chance she's going to be a 5-star character. What kind of kit she's going to be having, I don't know just yet, but it's been a while since we last have an anemo character, correct me if I'm wrong. But while I think that most of us who are really into waifu is probably not gonna be skipping on this very beautiful elf looking girl right here. That's one thing, but the other thing is that we're going to be getting Auroron. He's going to be a confirmed electro character. Now 4 or 5-star is not a confirmed thing just yet, but even though he does have a 5-star kind of design, for me personally, I think that Hoyoverse is going to be giving him a 4-star mark. This is just my guess at this point in time. Hopefully he is going to be a 5-star, but it doesn't entirely matter, because while 5.2 has Bando Collector out there, you guys are going to be getting a very nice looking male character nonetheless. So that's definitely something you want to look forward to, not to mention any of the other potential reruns that we might be having in 5.2. Obviously not a confirmation just yet, but it has been rumored out there that Venti, Klee and Albedo might be back. But honestly guys, if the reruns are like this, then it's probably not going to be worth it for you to actually pull, apart from either saving for pulling for Chaska and Auroron if he is a 5-star character, and obviously Mavuika is almost confirmed to be in 5.3 at that point. It's something that you really do have to take into consideration on your account, especially Xilonen. I know that many of you will be tempted to pull for Xilonen, but you do still have to look into your accounts, because Kaza is still a very good and sought out support character if you already got him on your account and you feel like you're already doing very good numbers with your team, then do think about whether or not it is a good investment for your account to be pulling for Xilonen at this point in time, especially looking at the hideous 4-star lineup. It's definitely something you have to be mindful about. So guys, that's everything I have to say regarding the official banner of 5.1 first phase. If you do have any question, guys, leave it down in the comment section and I or some lovely other Genshin player will get to you there. If you're still on the fence of which character to be pulling in patch 5.1, guys, then I have a very in-depth video going through that to help you guys out. So be sure to check the video out right here. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, guys, and with that I wish you a super day and I will catch you on my next video.